I'm going to invite Ajeet Singh on stage. He's the co-founder and exec chairman of ThoughtSpot. He's a two-time founder. He, previously also was a founder of Nutanix, so he's built like 2 unicorn companies. I thought it would be a great way for us to start today to do some context setting on the world overall and how things are evolving. So, welcome, Ajeet. All right. So, very grateful to have you joining us today for this and sharing your perspective with us, Ajeet. I think, from starting companies, being on the board, you get this sort of worldview. You're advising a bunch of entrepreneurs as well. So I thought it would be very useful to get your perspective on a few things. I'll start with maybe, you've been through multiple shifts and waves of AI over a period of time, I'm sure. So what's been that moment that really hit you hard and said, okay, this wave or this shift is different from what we've seen before?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Shri. So talking about this product, Lovable. I've grown up in my professional career as a product manager. And I was just playing with some ideas. Lovable, for those of you that haven't heard, and there are a few tools like that. There is Bolt, there is Versal V0, and so on. But going from an idea to an app, if you can give a single line prompt to say, build me a professional services team management app, that's all you have to say. And you'll see how intelligently it comes up with a fully defined user experience, UI, code, a fully working product. And you can interact with it and you can refine it. To me, that was pretty transformational because, as someone who has been part of teams that have built some pretty significant products, I could see that the process of starting from a concept to seeing a real product, it could sometimes take 2, 3, 4, 5 months, depending on the complexity of what you're trying to build. And being able to see a good enough version of that in a matter of an hour, it was really transformational. It was really, really transformational. It's not that the app that was built was the final app that we would take and just start selling it. Typically you would have product managers, designers, engineers defining products, writing requirements, building prototypes, reviewing, but all of that was collapsed in this whole short process. And once you can see something real, then your ideation becomes better, and you can iterate much more faster. So, over last couple of years, I'm sure all of us have used our different tools, and different things appeal to different people. But that was really fun. And what that has done now is, it's not that we are doing the same thing, the same process faster. We are doing things very differently. Now product managers, as opposed to starting with a document, they start with a prototype, and then you get together with designers. So the process that was taking months earlier, now on day one, a product manager can have a prototype. Next 2-3 days, you can refine it, and by Friday, you're actually, if you start on Monday, by Friday you could be shipping. So it is really, really game-changing.
Yeah, very transformational experience to watch, like a demo of Lovable. I actually showed one of my cousins, and he's in the product development space, and he's like, "Oh my God, what's going to happen to my job?" Right? That was like literally his reaction about like how he's doing things today and how the world is changing. And we are, by the way, showing a demo of Lovable tomorrow, just to show that art of what is possible. So, definitely resonates with me as to that being like a very hard-hitting moment when you experience that. I think there was a recent interview where you said, to make a big change, you need to have an irrational desire to do it, because logic will give you 1,000 reasons not to go down a certain path. When it comes to an irrational drive for, embracing AI within an organization. What do you think that should look like?
Yeah, I think this was must have been a reference to something I heard at my first startup where I worked. So this was 2007, and I was working at a startup in the Bay Area called Aster Data. And I think the CTO founder told me he was a skydiver, and he used to tell me that starting a company is like skydiving. When I don't have the courage to ever do skydiving because I have fear of heights. But he said when you go up on the plane, the instructor would always tell you to look up and jump. Because if you look down, you're never going to jump. And that sort of stayed with me, and I've found over time that to be a very interesting sort of decision-making paradigm. Because if you make decisions by analysis, you'll always be making optimal but incremental decisions. If you're looking to make non-linear change, often that comes with a bit of an irrationality. You really just want to do something. Of course, you'll do all kind of analysis and justify it, but any nonlinear change does not come with a lot of analysis. So when it comes to AI or anything else, I think a lot of organizations are still experimenting. They're trying. Some are not even aware what is possible. God help them. But the ones that are aware, at least I see there are two kinds of organizations. One that are spending a lot of time doing analysis, experimentation, trying to collect some data, and so on. And there are some that are, of course, becoming aware of the art of the possible, but end of the day, making a hard decision to say, yeah, we are going to do this, and then so you commit and then you figure it out. Because we don't really know how it's going to pan out once you start using these tools in your day-to-day. Your process will change, how people collaborate, that will change. As a leader, how I engage with my team has changed. Earlier, you would have a topic, a problem you're trying to solve, you get a small team together, you do some brainstorming, and then you have some follow-up actions, and then you have another meeting or more discussions or whatever. But now, as a leader, you start with brainstorming with AI. You do all the brainstorming. Then you have some ideas, you have some pros and cons, options. Then you get together with a small group and say, I thought about this, you thought about this, what should we be doing? So I think the processes fundamentally change once you actually start doing things. So it's very important to, for everyone, as organizations, as well as individuals, for people that are not really going all in, embracing these tools and really using them, I think it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I was telling some of my leaders that in our organization, we have a bunch of, we hire from college, we hire junior people. If we are not helping them make this transformation, they actually could be out of jobs in a couple of years, and that would be really bad. So we have to make sure that as leaders, we understand the responsibility we have for ourselves and our teams to bring everybody along and be the person who's leading the charge with experimenting, failing, learning, doing more, and then sharing all that with others.
Absolutely. I think my own behavior, I see a change where I think on Friday, I messaged my co-founder saying, hey, I want you guys to go over the script of what I'm going to start Propel with and put together a document. Here's like the key points I want to hit. But before I sent it to them, I said, okay, why not just throw it into ChatGPT and go into deep research mode, ask it to critique and give me feedback on it. And it did a great job. I didn't bother to, chase my co-founders for feedback after that. I thought I have enough feedback already. So I think all of our behavior needs to be AI first as well, right? For us to know what's possible, where it's doing a good job, what to ask of our team. What do you now look for in leaders? And what do you think a company's board is judging leadership on now?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty broad question I can try to answer at various levels. I think as we look to build teams, one of the things that has become very important is recruiting people that have an open mind. I was talking to another entrepreneur who's an early stage entrepreneur, about a 30 people team, doing some really, really interesting things with using AI to generate videos, actually. And what he shared with me is that the people that are doing the best